Fight guy is going to be running over UFC 323, Yan versus Billy, and my bets for this card and my early predictions. So some things may change, but I have got a couple of bets on, and I'm going to run through some spots I like for this card. So first up, we got Marion Santos versus Muhammad Naimov, and I like Santos in this fight. I was really impressed with his last fight against pull up his record, Sadiq Yusuf. Yeah, he looked really good in that fight. I think he's the much better striker. He's got very good Muay Thai, very fast leg kicks, fast hands, and he showed good takedown defense against Sadiq Yusuf, which I think Naimov probably is going to try and wrestle in this fight. He's quite a physically strong guy, but I think Santos will be able to defend the takedowns, and he's the better striker. I like how Santos throws more conventional strikes. I like his Muay Thai striking. He throws the basics, but very fast, very crisp. Naimov, he goes for a lot of spinning attacks and just shit that like isn't a high percentage of landing. And his last couple fights, Bogdan Grad, we just saw him lose last weekend. He's not a great fighter, and Khan Oakley is absolutely terrible. And he's taken his guy to decisions, and these fights were pretty close. Um, so yeah, I think Santos is going to be the crisper striker, and if he can defend the takedowns, he should get the win, and I think he can. So let's look at the odds. Santos is a pretty big favorite, so you're going to have to put him in a parlay. I've got one unit with Santos and Turner together. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. We got Mansoor Abdul Malik versus Tricoli. And UFC is trying to get Mansoor a win here. So Mansoor, he's an absolute physical freak. Look at the dude. He's huge, he's jacked, he's got big power, but he is very green. He's only got something like 8 fights. And he wasn't looking impressive in the Cody Brundage fight. He did fuck all for 2 rounds. And yeah, he just was really low volume for the first 2 rounds. And then in the third round, he finally went for it. And when he went for it, he absolutely destroyed Brundage, and that should have been a KO. But yeah, so I don't know what was going on in the first 2 rounds, but when this guy goes for it, he's an absolute beast. And he's only 28 years old, so I think we're going to see a lot of improvement. He's at a good gym, MMA Masters. So he should get the win here, and he should get a finish here because this guy Tricoli is not good. He was finished by Trayshawn Gore, and Trayshawn Gore, he's not a great fighter. And Shara Magomedov KO'd him in the third round, and there he's only 2 UFC fights. And what I don't like about Tricoli in this matchup is he stands very upright, um, and he drops his hands, and it looks like he's just there to get KO'd. He is a big guy though, so physically, I think they're going to be pretty evenly matched up. But in the striking, I don't like how Tricoli drops his hands, and I think Mansoor's going to land a big shot on him. So I'm going to take Mansoor by KO in this fight, um, and probably Mansoor by finish, but we'll see what the odds are on that. He's a massive favorite. So I'll just take Mansoor by finish. The money line is a bit too short to be thinking about. But yeah, Mansoor by finish. That's what I like in this fight. I wouldn't take the under 1.5 just in case Mansour, like in the Cody Brundage fight, does nothing the first 2 rounds. Um, so yeah, just the risk is that he's only got 8 fights. So yeah, he wasn't too impressive in his last fight, but like Tricoli is not good, and he should finish this guy. Next up, Ebo, versus this new Polish dude, and this Polish guy Ewo, he was pretty impressive on the Contender Series. He KO'd this Ali, who was the favorite in that matchup in the first round. He's got a very nice 1-2. He throws it straight, it's powerful. Um, he's also got a judo background, extensive amateur experience. So this looked like a good prospect, and I think he's going to get with a win in this fight. He is only 6 foot. He's a little bit small for a light heavyweight, but he's got good skills. And he's going up against Ebo, who looks like a beast, but he's just a bit sloppy technique wise. He goes for the KO, throws wild hooks, and if he doesn't get the KO, his wild technique sort of leaves him open to straight shots, and guys can sort of duck under those hooks and get takedowns like Iron Kutalaba did. I had a big bet on Kutalaba in that fight. He was actually a dog. That was awesome. And I cashed on Billy. So I've been fading Ebo, and it's been working out well for me. But this is a Contender Series debut, guys. So for that reason, um, these Contender Series debut guys, I don't tend to bet just because there's a lot of unknowns about the level of opposition that they've been facing. So for this fight, I like the fight to end in the first 2 rounds. We don't have odds for that yet, but I'm probably going to play that. You could put Ewo money line as a bet, but personally, I'm not taking that because Ebo's he still has big power. Like if he's able to defend takedowns, he could get a KO himself. And this Ewo guy, I think he's good, but he's just very unproven yet. So I want to see him in the UFC at least one fight before I bet him. All right, next fight. This one I'm pretty confident on. I like Jalen Turner to win here. He's a lot younger. He's got all the physical attributes. He's got all the physical advantages. Got a longer reach, tall, 30 years old, which generally is the prime for a fighter. And he's got a couple losses, but just mentally he wasn't there in these fights. When he puts it all together, he's got all the skills that you need to do really well in the UFC. Um, just his issue was mental, not focusing 100%. Looking on his Instagram, it looks like he's become really religious. I think that could be a benefit, usually for these guys that have mental issues. I think when they really get into religion, that can be a good positive for them. See guys like Bryce Mitchell, he's pretty mentally strong. And he's gone up against Edson Barbosa, who's a veteran, but he's 39 years old, and I really don't like how he looked in his last fight against Drakkar Klose. So Drakkar Klose, he's a pretty solid fighter, but he's not like top 10. Drakkar Klose, he's more of like a grindy fighter, likes to get in the clinch. His boxing is decent, and he was landing some big boxing combinations on Barbosa and even wobbling Barbosa. And yeah, I just don't like how Barbosa looked in his last fight. So I think Jalen Turner, he's got more dangerous hands than Drakkar Close, and I didn't like Edson Barbosa's defense against the boxing, and I think Jalen Turner's going to land some big punches on him and finish him in this fight. So yeah, I like Jalen Turner by finish in this fight. We haven't got odds on that yet, but I've got Jalen money line in two bets. So I've taken Jalen with Santos, 1 unit, and also Jalen with a fight further down that I'll talk about later. Next up, this is an interesting fight. Really interesting fight. Vittori, veteran. He's only um, he's only 32 years old, but he's been around the UFC for a long time. He's had some injuries. Um, he's been fighting the best guys. He's coming off two losses, but these are against top five guys, Galite and Allen. And Vittori's known for his granite chin. He's got good volume, good cardio. He's a pretty solid grappler. The Allen fight, he did take some big shots in that. And Allen's not really known as a striker, and he was getting the better of him in the striking in that matchup. And he even hurt Vittori, which with a right hand, that was a bit concerning. But I still think it was a competitive fight against Brendan Allen. And we'll look at Bruno Ferreira. So Bruno Ferreira, he's quite a small middleweight. I think he could probably make welterweight, um, but he carries a lot of power. He's got two finishes in his last fight, but these are against not very good guys. And he's definitely very dangerous. Like, look at all these finishes. But the thing I don't like about him is he does gas out because he throws with so much power. Gassed out in this fight and was finished in the last round. So yeah, my pick for this fight, I'm gonna have a look at when they release more options. I would take, I think Bruno decision no bet, so like a finish only might be interesting. Because I think he could crack the chin of Vittori. Vittori's striking defense is not great, but and he's shown a great chin his whole career, but I think Bruno's going to be able to land some big shots on him. But the thing I don't like about Bruno is he is pretty low volume, so Vittori's going to be throwing more and probably landing more, but Bruno will have the bigger shots. And I don't like how Bruno shoot jumps for guillotines when guys are trying to take him down. Um, because Vittori, I think, is the better grappler in this fight. He's also going to be a bit bigger. So yeah, I don't like that for Bruno. And I also think Vittori's got the better cardio. So if he doesn't get finished, I think he'll probably could win round three or decision. So yeah, I'm going to have a look at those two bets, what the odds are for Vittori round three or decision, and um, Bruno KO or decision. I don't think he's going to sub Vittori. So yeah, I'm going to look at those spots and see what the odds are. Potentially, you could play both sides and end up in profit. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking for that one because it's tricky to predict. Yeah. Next up, this is another great fight: Farestian versus Nazim Sadikov. And first up, we'll talk with Nazim because I'm a big fan of Nazim. He's always in fun fights. And when I first saw this matchup, I was like, yep, Nazim for sure. But then I watched a bit of tape and I've kind of changed my mind. Um, so he had a great fight against Moda, but he was almost finished in the first round, and he come back and got the finish. Bonfim, he looked great. He finished him in the first round. But we've seen now that this Bonfim bro is not very good. He just lost his next fight as well. Borshev. Now, Borshev, this was a really close fight. Borshev won the first and the third round, and Nazim got a 10-8 in the second round. Nearly finished him in the second round. This Evan Elder fight as well. It was very close. I think Elder was actually winning that fight, and Nazim got a stoppage in the last round. So yeah, there's a pattern in these fights that Nazim's losing and he comes back and gets a finish. And that's why I'm a big fan of his because he's so fun to watch. Um, and he goes for it. He goes for the finish. But he does lose minutes. I don't think defensively he's as good as Ziam. And Ziam, he's a very good striker too. He's got a big height and reach advantage, and he's a good striker from long range. And I think the most likely thing in this fight is probably going to be ZM to win by decision because I think he'll be winning the minutes as he's able to strike from long range. And I think defensively he's pretty good. Like when these guys are getting in close, like Nazim's going to have to close the distance and get on the inside where he's able to throw his combinations. He's very good on the inside, Nazim. But Ziam, he's good at staying on the outside, and when guys come on the inside, he's able to clinch up and avoid damage. So yeah, I think actually Ziam by decision is what I'm going to go in this fight because Nazim is extremely tough. Um, but yeah, I could see Nazim outstriking him from range and then avoiding the danger in close by clinching up. So yeah, unfortunately, gonna go ZM by decision. Next fight, Barber versus Silva. I got nothing for this fight. I'm not interested in it. Chick fight. Um, mm, yeah, I'm not interested in this fight. Move on. McKinney versus Duncan. Um, yeah, I like Duncan in this fight. McKinney, he's just round one or bust. So I've already got a bet on Duncan. 2 units. What did I pay his Duncan? Yeah, 200 on Duncan to win 106. And then I'm going to take the under 2.5 in another bet when that's released, because I think Duncan could get a finish round two because McKinney, I'm filming. Uh, McKinney, yeah, I think McKinney could get a finish round one, but I think most likely Chris Duncan is going to get a finish in round two. Yeah, so Chris Duncan money line. I'm going to take the under 2.5 or ends in round one and two in a different bet when that's released. Dawson versus Torres. Man, I really want Torres to win. I'm not a fan of Grant Dawson. He's so boring to watch. Just wrestler, boring decisionator. Um, it was so weird how he got KO'd instantly by Bobby Green. That looked like a fixed fight. That was so weird. He literally got like KO'd by a jab. But other than that, he's been looking really good. Wow, I don't remember him finishing Rafa Garcia. That's pretty impressive. But Torres, he's a very dangerous striker. He goes for the finish 100%. Look at all these round one KOs. Um, so yeah, I think it's going to be Torres by finish early, or it's going to be Grant Dawson by submission or decision. So I'm going to have a look at those when they're released and see what the odds are. Um, Potentially bet both sides. Yeah, I might even look at the under 2.5, see what the odds are. No, actually, I think Dawson probably would win a submission or decision because Torres, he is tough. Um, I don't think he's gonna go out from ground and pound. I think it would more likely be he gets choked out from the grappling, but I could also see Torres getting a KO. So yeah, I'll probably look at betting Torres by KO early and also betting Dawson by submission or decision and see if you can make profit betting both sides with that one. Next up, I do have a bet on this one. Jan, the OG veteran, is going up against Bogdan. So I mean, Jan, he's 42, so he's pretty old, but I don't think the age is as much as a factor in the older weight class. We've seen these older, heavier guys still do well. And just look at the guys he's fighting. He's fighting Carlos Ulberg. That was a competitive fight. Alex Pereira, competitive fight. Goes to split decision. These are the two champ and the number one contender. Magomed Ankalaev destroys him with leg kicks, goes to a split decision, and he finishes right kick. And then you look at Bogdan. He's much younger. Finishes Krylov. Krylov chin seems cooked after Dominic Reyes KO'd him. Billy, he's all right. Span, he's round one or bust. Zach Puga sucks. Then Otamir, who's decent, finishes in round one. So I mean, just competition wise, Jan has fought the way better guys, and style wise, I think Jan Bogdan he has a very wide stance because he loads up on punches, and I think Jan is just going to leg kick him to death. With that wide stance, it's pretty open, and the worry is Bogdan landing a big punch and getting a KO, which definitely could happen. But I'm going to take the veteran. I think he's going to be able to land his leg kicks, and I don't think he's completely washed yet. He's still having competitive fights with Carlos Ulberg. That was this year, so I reckon Jan the man. And what are the odds for Jan? Jan is all right. So I got him at $1.90 on another book, and yeah, I got 1.5 units on Jan. I think the old veteran can get it done. Land those leg kicks, and then once you compromise the leg, it affects a boxing heavy guy's power as well. So as long as he can survive the first round and not get KO'd, I think Jan can do it. Next up, Henry versus Talbot, Peyton Talbot. So yeah, Talbot, he's a very hyped prospect. He's going to have a big size advantage in this matchup. He's got a power advantage and he's a better striker. But the issue is going to be with the wrestling. So he was out wrestled by Barcelos and lost a unanimous decision. And then in his last fight, he looked much improved in the grappling, but I think Felipe Lima is nowhere near the wrestler of Henry Cejudo. So yeah, Henry Cejudo, he's a former champ. He's an Olympic gold medalist wrestler. He's going to be much smaller in this matchup, but he's been fighting the much better guys, and he's not getting finished by these guys, so that's impressive. And I do think Talbot most likely wins just because of the size and the striking advantage, but I'm not going to bet him because the odds are way too wide. $1.38 for Talbot. Like, I think Cejudo's being underestimated here. If Cejudo can get some takedowns, I could see him winning a decision. So yeah, I'm going to have a look at Cejudo by decision when that comes out, and maybe the takedown props, um, because I do think he could get takedowns against Talbot, and maybe he gets the upset. So yeah, I'm definitely not going to be putting Talbot into multis. But yeah, no bet so far. I'm going to have a look at Cejudo by decision when that comes out. Just put a small bet on that because the odds are going to be wide. And yeah, next up, Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira. So this is another hyped up prospect, Taira. And I do think he's really good. He's an amazing grappler. He looked really good in his last fight, but it's against Park, who's proven to be not so good. And he went to a split decision against Royval, and I don't think it should have been a split decision. I rewatched that, and Royval was piecing him up in the boxing, and he was able to reverse some positions and get ground and pound. And I think Royval clearly won that fight. And Moreno, he's a veteran. He's a former champ. He's had a bit of mixed performances. He lost to Royval as well. He didn't look good in that fight. But he's looked pretty good in his last two fights. And I think this is a really close fight. Like, if Taylor can get takedowns, he's able to take the back and just win rounds that way, with his back control. Once he's on your back, he's very hard to get rid of. So he could win rounds that way. But just looking at the odds, I might have to take a shot on Moreno if this line gets any wider, because I do think Moreno is going to be the better striker. And Moreno's got good scrambles too. He's not terrible on the ground. Um, like he went to a split decision with Pantoja, who's an absolute beast grappler, and that was a really close fight. So for a bet, if the odds get any wider, I might have to take Moreno, because I do think this is a 50-50 fight, and I think Moreno could get the win. Um, so yeah, I'm going to go with Moreno in this one. Next up, Pantoja versus Van. I love watching Van fight. He's a great boxer. He's got awesome combinations, great cardio. That fight against Royval was awesome. But that was a purely striking fight, and he's going up against a champ who's a very good grappler in Pantoja. And he just takes guys down and submits them. So he's also, I don't think he's terrible on the feet either. He does, his defense is not good, but he's got a great chin. And he just kind of eats some shots to land his own, and he's got pretty decent power too. Like I was rewatching that Roy Di Moreno fight, and he landed some big shots on Moreno. He dropped him in one of the rounds too. So I think he does have sneaky power. Um, so yeah, I got to take Pantoja in this fight. I just think the grappling threat, and the way, the ability he has to just jump on guys' back, and once he gets that back control, he can win the round that way, or get a submission. See, I've got one bet on Pantoja with Jalen Turner, just one unit for like 220 odds or something. Yeah, I got Pantoja $1.50, so it's like $2.13 odds. So yeah, I like them to win, and I'll probably take Pantoja by submission. at some point when the odds are out for that. Because yeah, I think if he gets on Van's back, Van's never fought a grappler like Pantoja, and Pantoja's just so good at getting these chokes. So yeah, I'm going for the champ in this one. But if I'm wrong, I won't be mad because I'm a big fan of Van. I'd be happy if he won. Now the main event, we got Murad versus Peter Yan, and Murad's just been on fire. He looks unbeatable at the moment. Look at all these guys. Sandhagen, unanimous decision, finishes Sean O'Malley. What a crazy win. Umar Nurmagomedov, unanimous decision. Like just all these top guys, and he's already beat Yan. And yeah, his name is the machine for a reason. His cardio is insane, and I think he's going to win this fight by decision. Yan's got really good skills, but I think Yan likes a more patient fight where he's able to think a bit more and set up his shots. Um, he's got like amazing skills, but the thing, Marab, just the pace of Marab in their first fight kind of made Yan not be able to set up his attacks. Like skill for skill, I think Yan is probably the more skilled guy. Definitely in the striking, but just the pace and cardio of Marab is insane, and he's just able to outwork him in their last fight, and I think he'll be able to do it again. So yeah, um, I've just got one bet on Mirab at the moment with Aman Sarukian, who won last week. So yeah, just only the one bet so far on Mirab, but I might do like Mirab decision with something else, and they release more props. So yeah, that's all I got so far. Um, Pretty much just these bets, but I'll release my final predictions later in the week. So yeah, so far I've just got Marab in a multi, and I've got Chris Duncan straight bet, and I've got Turner Pantoja one unit, and I've got Jalen Turner in another bet. But yeah, I have Jalen Turner with the young guy in the start, Santos, on another book, and I've got a bet on Jan, just a straight bet, Jan, 1.5 units. So yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you agree with these picks, or you're going with someone else? Let me know in the comments.